Hey, Paris, oui, oui. In this video, I want to share with you 30 things I wish I knew before visiting Paris, or like some people say Paris. In French, we say Paris. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. My name is Clem. I'm trying to find out, but you can call me Dr. Clem. And if there is a deeper story behind the destination, I will probably find it. But today, the story I want to talk about is 30 things I wish I knew before visiting Paris or Paris, however you call it, the capital of France. Okay. If you want to be part of this beautiful adventure and get more videos like this, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you are notified every single time I post a new video, which, you know, in this season in which I want to be doing it every day. So let's see how it goes. And as you can see, we are wearing white. There's red in the background. We are in the mood for Paris, for France. So let's go. Before we get started with this video, I want to preface by saying this, right? Paris and France in general is a destination where I have been a lot of times for, like, you know, spending time with my family because, you know, I have family there, I have friends there. And so when I go to France, for me, my experience is different. However, I have also experienced France as a tourist, right? And so being able to have the duality of that experience, or those two experiences, I want to share these tips because I know that a lot of times people just focus on, oh, you know what, let me do this, let me do that. But then you don't really see the realities and the nitty gritty of like what it really takes to actually go to France or to Paris and have a unique experience. So I'm coming here wearing my hat of somebody who has kind of like explored Paris as someone who knows locals, but also explored Paris as a tourist, right? And so that's where this video is coming in. So if you want to have more videos about tips when it comes to like Paris and stuff, let me know in the comments below and I'm happy to share them with you. With no further ado, let's go. So we're going to organize this video. I took a few notes to make sure that I don't forget anything. I like to do things in a strategic way, and I know that, you know, sometimes I can go into talking and like you'll just like lose the train of what I'm saying. So I took some notes and we're going to go through it section by section. So first we're going to talk about before you go to Paris. Tip number one, when to visit Paris. Paris is a city, Paris is like a four-season city. It's like Toronto, it's like New York City, it's like Montreal, it's like Vancouver, it's like Yaoundé in Cameroon, it's like Dakar in Senegal, you know what I mean? So these are four-season cities, so you can go at any point in time, and based on when you're going, the landscape is going to look different. So go when your budget allows, go when you have, you know, money to be able to afford the trip, and go, you know, when you have time off, when you are able to go. However, what you see is going to be different based on when you are going, right? Because summer is very busy in Europe in general, right? With the whole trend of European summer, you know, generally all European destinations tend to be more expensive in the summer, including Paris. So if you want to go in the summer, you need to book like way ahead of time compared to if you wanted to go in the fall or in the winter. I can't tell you when to go. It really depends on the landscapes that you want to see, how much you can handle the heat or how much you can handle the cold, what your budget looks like, and all the factors that depend on you, right? But if you had like leeway and you could just pick any time, I would recommend the summer or the winter, because winter in Europe has like a beautiful charm. As you know, Europe is known as the old continent. So you have like these, you know, buildings that have like this castle-like, you know, aesthetics and so forth. So they also have the winter Christmas markets, which are like really popular in Europe and really, really nice. So that's why I would recommend, you know, winter if you can handle it. But summer is also a very, very nice season to visit Paris because everything is just like warm, you know, people are outside, you can really like have really long days, you can go to concerts, festivals, outdoor events. So really the best time depends on when you want to go and when your body can allow it, and, you know, whatever works for you. Number two, how many days do you actually need in Paris? So it depends on, so as a four-season city and as a capital, I find like Paris is a very rich and very vast city, right? You can have 2 weeks in Paris and still not be able to see everything, right? So I would say again, this depends on what your time, like how much time you have to spare, whether or not you want to do other cities and so forth. But I would say at minimum, give yourself 5 days in Paris, like at minimum, because Let me tell you why. Because the place, you want to move from one space to the other, right? Like even for the key tourist attractions like Musée du Louvre, Eiffel Tower, la Place Montmartre, les Champs-Élysées, le Palais de Versailles, all those places like Galerie Lafayette. It will take you a lot of time to move from one space to the other, and so in one day you can decide, especially that is if you don't want to rush, so in one day you can decide to hit 2 or 3 tourist attractions. The next day you can decide to do 2 or 3 tourist attractions. The third day you can decide to just like do restaurants or parks. The fourth day, you know, if you are into Disneyland or whatnot, you know, you can do that. And the fifth day you can use that to like just rest and chill a little bit. So a lot of things, places in Paris are spread out. So you need to think about transit time. And even if you decide to get Ubers, right? There is a lot of traffic in the city. You need to think about the time that it takes you by train and so forth. So I would say 4 to 5 days would be good, you know, to give the city a chance. Another thing that I want to mention is the fact that the city is very neighborized, right? Paris is a city that is like based on the neighborhoods where you are going to, you're going to get a different vibe. So the experience you will have will really depend on the neighborhoods where you are spending the most time. And I have a video about, you know, the time that I spent in Paris. I'm going to link it and include the link in the description box of this video so you can check it out and see a little bit of what my experience was. We did downtown Paris, and then we also took a day trip to a beach and resort destination, which is also something that you can do when you come to Paris. Okay. Tip number 3, where to stay. Honestly, stay wherever your budget allows. The thing that I want you to remember is that once you are in Paris, right? Once you are in Paris, you will take public transportation to go to places. So if it means that you're staying very far from like Musée du Louvre or Eiffel Tower, like the main public attractions, then that's fine. And by very far, I mean like even if it's 40 minutes, you know, by train and so forth, that's fine. That's pretty decent, because at the end of the day, even for your sightseeing experiences, you are going to be moving around using public transportation. Ask me whether or not you would need an Uber. Yes, you can take Ubers, but again, think about the traffic in the city. It will cost you more and take you longer, take you maybe the same amount of time than using public transportation. So where to stay really depends on your budget and on how long you have in the city. A lot of the people that I know who live in Paris, they don't even live downtown in the city, but they come downtown in the city to explore and so forth. And most people do that. Like they come downtown when they come to explore, and then they go back home to take the train, and they go back home because nobody wants to be stuck in traffic, you know, in one of the busiest cities in the world. So, number 5, when it comes to major attractions, you want to book your tickets ahead of time. Book your tickets ahead of time. I remember a friend of mine wanted to visit Paris, and I was like helping her to like get her like the stuff organized. And then for the times when we wanted to book an Eiffel Tower tour for her, like the times were busy because people had booked ahead of time. So you want to make sure that for major attractions like Eiffel Tower, Musée du Louvre, and all those things, book your tickets ahead of time, because for the day when you will want it, you might not be able to get a time slot or even a ticket for that day, because this is a city where people are going, you know, all year round. So you really want to make sure that you book ahead of time. And then when it gets to going to that place, that attraction, leave an hour and a half before so that you can be there at least 30 minutes before, make the line, and then enter easy peasy. That is the thing with big cities, right? You have to like plan ahead for you to be able to really have an unrushed and experience that will not end up annoying you, okay? And then before you go, tip number 6, learn a few French phrases, right? So just like in any other country, when you go and you try to speak the language and say a few things in the language, people appreciate that a lot. So it doesn't mean that you need to know French to visit Paris. It doesn't mean that. But if you know a few sentences, people will always appreciate it, especially if you try to say it, even if you make mistakes, say it with your accent, it's fine. People will understand it. However, for me personally, I speak French and I speak English. For me personally, when I visit Paris, I speak both, right? There are some places where I only speak in English, because a lot of times also, they might treat you a little bit different if you are like speaking like French, and they might not give you the full tourist treatment, right? So to me, it depends on where I'm going. There are some places where I speak English, there are some places where I only speak French. Now, let's talk about getting around in Paris, right? First, don't rely exclusively on Ubers or on taxis. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. A lot of Parisians, people who live in Paris, when they come downtown, when they come to the city, Either they park their car somewhere and they take the train, or they don't even drive to come to the city, right? They take the train straight from where they are coming, because they know that when they get to the city, there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, there's a lot of car traffic. So you want to really be careful, when it comes to that, and like calculating your transit time. So that's why, for me, all the times that I've been to Paris, it has always worked better when we drove to a point, we parked the vehicle, and then we took the train to navigate around, right? So it works better. You have less stress. You're burning less gas. You're saving more money, and it's just more practical. You don't have to worry about parking, because when you're driving, you have to think about, first of all, putting gas, of course, but then also when you get to your destination, you have to find parking. And Paris is a touristic city, so you know that parking spots will be taken. So if you are going to a spot, you might have to park like 10 minutes away from that spot for you to find parking. And then you have to walk again. So all this can just be like jumbo. Don't rely on driving a lot. Don't necessarily rely on Ubers. Prioritize a lot on the public transportation, which is the metro system, the train system, for you to move around places, okay? So learn the metro system, and that's something that you can learn when you get there. Don't hesitate to ask questions at the metro station. Buy your ticket, ask questions, don't try to figure things out on your own, because the metro system operates differently, like based on different cities. In Toronto here, I'm familiar with the metro system, I know how it works, but in Paris, it's a little bit different, same as in New York City, right? So be open to that and just ask questions if you need assistance. Then walking, very important. Walking is part of the Parisian experience. Those of you guys who like to go to places and you're like, oh, you're just driving, you're just Ubering, please forget it. When you are in Europe, you have to be willing to start walking, because first of all, that is the culture in Europe, but also secondly, things are close, but they are also far. You understand? And sometimes it would be faster for you to walk to your destination than to take a taxi. Literally, I'm telling you from somebody who has been there. So when you are going to be in those streets where you are going to be exploring, don't be going there with heels and pumps and espadrilles. Go with your cutesy flat shoes, cutesy tennis shoes, cutesy sandals. If you are in the winter, of course, you will walk less, but still cutesy stylish boots that have like what we call crampons for the snow. Make sure you are ready to walk, right? You prepare for distances like 15 minutes walk, 20 minutes walk, because that is how it is there, all right? So walking is part of the Parisian experience. And then when you walk also, you can see like little ruelles, the petite ruelles. You can see little alleys, little places where you can like stop and take photos, cute little charming things, cute little charming stands, buildings, coffee shops and so forth, that you will not see if you are in the car. So you go through like little crevices, not crevices, but like those little alleys, and then it just adds to the experience of being in the city. When you're don't underestimate travel distances, because when you're planning your route, when you say that, we want to do, sorry, my phone locked. When you say, we want to do this today, you really have to map out your day and don't underestimate distances. Like, for example, let's say you want to go to the Eiffel Tower, right? You open your Google Map and check how long, put the Google Map, put Eiffel Tower in your Google Maps, and then see what the itinerary looks like. But then put the time when you're planning to leave, or the time by which you want to arrive, right? So let's say if you have a ticket for 10 a.m., right? Then that means that you need to plan to arrive there at least by 9:30 for the latest. I will say 9:15. So in your Google Maps, put arrive by 9:15, and let Google Maps tell you what itinerary you should take. Look at the Uber or driving directions, and then the public transportation directions. Sometimes you will see that it's the same, right? So with the public transportation directions, it will tell you what time you need to leave your house or your hotel by, or your Airbnb by, for you to be able to make it to the Eiffel Tower at the time when you want to make it, and plan at least 45 minutes. Be there at least 45 minutes before your entry time, because those lines are long. Now, once you have that, the Google Maps will tell you what time you need to leave your accommodation by. Then I personally, what I like doing is that if Google Maps tell me I need to leave if I want to be there by 9:15, I need to leave my accommodation, I don't know, let's say maybe 8:15, right? I will add 30 minutes to that. So I will say, okay, instead of 8:15, then let me leave even 30 minutes earlier. The reason I do that is because I want to give myself enough buffer time. Like, what if in the morning I wake up with a headache, or I wake up because we had like a long night the night before, and then we wake up later, or I need more time, or I'm looking for something, or something just happens and then you need more time, right? You have at least a 30 minutes buffer time, and then you are not so stressed out, okay? And so when you take those things into consideration, that's also what you want to look at when you book your entry tickets, right? So if you say if you book a ticket for 10 a.m. at the Eiffel Tower, then it means that you will have to leave by XYZ time to make it there. So when you are booking your ticket, take all that transit time into consideration. Some people will be like, oh, you know what, it's over planning and so forth. You are going to a big city. There are things that you have to take into consideration, all right? And if your tickets are not refundable, or if it comes with like a change fee and so forth, then if you don't want to plan, way ahead, then just be prepared to change to pay for that change fee if push comes to shove. So if push comes to shove, so that's one thing that is important to know. So yeah, and then for me, I think it's just better to just plan. Like for me, I feel like when I anticipate a lot, then it gives me more freedom to have a little bit of a free range room for me to be able to just kind of like change the plan, instead of like planning rigidly and be like, oh my god, if I don't take the train by this time, I'm not gonna make it. So I'm like, listen, I don't want that stress. Okay, so that's that. And if you're enjoying this video, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, if you have any questions about visiting Paris, let me know in the comments below, and I'm happy to answer them. I will link the Paris vlog that I had done, and then maybe do another video about how much my Paris stay cost. And then if you have any questions, you can let me know there now. So if you like this video, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm happy to do a part 2 on this video if you have additional questions. So let me know what questions you have about visiting Paris. If you're planning to go to Paris, France, if you need any tips, I would love to answer your questions. Let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll use these questions to do a part 2 video. So see you tomorrow for the next video. Bye.